Art and literature are my two main passions. I have been writing and drawing for as long as I can remember. Most of my artworks have a story to tell, an emotion to express, or even a melody to convey. Nothing is done without a reason. All the characters I've drawn were used in stories I created on my own or with other people. Some of these characters and stories represent a memory of what I used to do and what I cherished, even if they were simple. This story, was no exception. Flowers Chasing Horizon is a graphic novel that took 3 years in the making. It dated all the way back to October 2017. I lived in Puerto Rico all my life, and 2017 was a tumultuous year. From strikes, stoppages, conspiracies, to an ever-growing crisis that affected the lives of the working class. On September that same year, we were struck by 2 major hurricanes. The first one was Irma on the 6th day, followed by Hurricane Maria on September 20th. The aftermath of Maria especially took its toll on people, not just on the exterior, but also emotionally and psychologically. It left a deep scar that not many have managed to recover up to this day. Shortly after I gained communication, around mid-October, I joined a role-playing app called Geeking as means of escape, and that is where I met Justin. Role-playing is a combination of performance, acting, and story-making. You create a tale in collaboration with 1 or 2 more individuals, whether they be friends or strangers. It's something I've been doing since I was 13 years old. I was fairly new to the application by then when Justin approached to my private messages to respond to a post I made. I don't remember what was it about, but we started talking, and then he asked if I was interested in making a story centered in Edo-era Japan. I was somewhat familiar with Japanese culture by the time, so I decided to give it a try. Our story did not have a title, but it spawned out the main protagonist of what would be Flowers Chasing Horizon. The story followed that, after a chance encounter, a runaway Hime and a Ronin would join each other and roam all over Japan in escape of persecution. My character was Hakuryu Sayuri, the runaway Hime, and Justin's character was called Astiani Nanashi, the Ronin. He was also a wanted criminal. The story between these 2 characters was something I quickly began to love, but around November, Justin began to suffer a decline on his health and would disappear for many days at a time. And on late December, he never logged back. A day prior, I saw a post that he had food poisoning and felt like he was going to die. I would always come back and message him if he was alright, but days and months would pass without a word from him. Geeking got taken down 2 years ago, and up to this day, I have not been able to hear from him again. I kept all our writings in a note, and I will read them every now and then to enjoy. It has become a bit of a painful experience, but I thought that the best way to cherish a friend and a story that has helped me through dark times was by adapting it, giving it continuation, and an ending it deserved. The project began once I drew a portrait of Princess Sayuri on December 2018. Back when I roleplayed with Justin, the story centered more on Astiani's backstory than Sayuri's. So after the portrait, I decided to develop her story. Even though it was an individual semestral project for our class, it gave ground to develop the novel. Sayuri's story was told through artist books. The first one was a flip-flop that served as a preamble to her backstory. It serves as a comparison shot to how she looks in the present and how she was in the past. After that, I developed 2 panoramic artist books, each 8 pages long. The first book details Princess Sayuri's childhood and her ascension as beauty and even political propaganda, with a scroll painting inspired in Las Meninas by Diego Velázquez serving as intermission. The second book shows Sayuri all grown up. It details the consequences of her unwanted notoriety, her abuse, and her loss of sanity, ultimately leading to her escape. From that point on, I decided to commence Flowers Chasing Horizon. My main inspiration was Akira Kurosawa's filmography. He combined Japanese art, philosophy, emotions, and historic themes with Western elements such as dynamism and literary classics, creating breathtaking visuals and vivid movements. I wanted to apply that subtle yet cinematic effect in a graphic novel, so I thought of not including text. I wanted the readers to focus more on the characters' emotions and expressions, for the narrative to be driven by their actions. Silence speaks louder than words here. Due to the fashion style, I decided to date the novel on an earlier age, between late Heian and early Kamakura period. Because of this, I had to research more about Japanese history, the customs, and how they would dress to make it authentic. It is not meant to be completely accurate, but it should be at least attuned to either of those eras. The characters had to go through changes in both design and personality, starting with Princess Sayuri. Her design was based on Gowace's One Eye. Since I did not have a drawing of Sayuri by the time I roleplayed with Justin, I used the artwork as a picture reference. When I drew Sayuri later on, I realized I made her look too similar to One Eye. Therefore, the portrait was a redesign of Princess Sayuri. Justin's character was inspired by Akaoni Nanashi from the movie Sword of the Stranger. When I drew him, his design was also too similar to the character, so changes had to be made. His name was also Nanashi, but Nanashi actually means no name. It was given to orphans, so it's more or less the equivalent of John Doe. Despite that Justin's Nanashi had a surname, his life and origins were quite a mystery. But since he is meant to be a mysterious character, I was unsure if to keep the surname Astiani. We would just have to find out. I opted to go through traditional mediums, using felt-tip pens, brush ink, pencils, and a red marker. The color of red plays an important role for this graphic novel. It is a powerful color. It is the color of passion and the color of blood. It is a violent shade, and the story itself is very violent. Red is an emotional and an attractive color. It catches your eye. It makes you feel beautiful, but it also unsettles you. It is the perfect color for this story. Red is also the color of the rising sun, and Sayuri's favorite color. Red is everything. I sketch out the first scene that comes to my mind, and later I trace them. Because of this, I do not follow a specific order of making page 1 first, then page 2 for example. Sometimes I begin with page 5 or 6, then return to page 2. I do this to save time. Whether a scene is not completely fleshed out in my head, or is becoming complicated to make, I proceed with the next one. Some of the later pages may look more artistically mature than the earlier ones, and vice versa. There's also no doubt that the art will change as I progress with it. But bouncing from one draft to the next one helps me avoid from getting blocked. Sometimes I go back to a finished work and add more details, which causes its delays. Yet I believe that is the essence of the graphic novel. It was born out of uncertainty, and it is about change, about not being fixed into a single space for too long. It is also a story about struggles and the ambiguity of life. It has proven to be a challenge to create, not only because it is my debut novel, but also from where it came. These present circumstances mirrors the sensations I have experienced 3 years ago. I believe many of us are striving our best to survive. It's not an easy task, but it is possible to achieve. Perhaps it will take longer for me to finish this, though it is alright to be continuous. This is meant to capture the essence of the journey, of finding what lies on the other side. Things will be tough from where we go, and it is alright to feel exhausted or lost. Better days will come. We just have to continue chasing our horizons.